Hello, everyone. My name is Daryl McMillan, and we are with Ike from Wowza, and this is going to be Music at the Library Rehash. So, Ike, how you doing today?
Doing fine, doing fine. Yeah.
hmm
I
Hope you,
miss the sunny days and stuff. It's a little overcast today, but I'm doing all right. So
we just missed it because it's been like sunny for like the past few days. Like it's been
yeah,
great.
totally. It was beautiful yesterday. We even we found a secluded. My family and I found a secluded area to hang out yesterday. Saw no one. Was around no one yet. We were still outside most of the day. It was really fun. So
hmm It's really
yeah,
amazing. Like the amount of people I see here. Like I'm on campus and everything. There's like almost no one here, but there's still like a few people that's going out walking their dog, maybe going walking as a couple or something like that. There's still people out, but it's just a ghost town otherwise.
yeah.
Yeah.
It is incredibly eerie. I've actually I've been through an experience of being evacuated from a town
Oh.
by the National Guard. Actually, I've been through it twice. When a flood hit this town that I was living in 1997 was the second time, and that was weird. Like the 4 a.m. cop knock on the door, like the doo, 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 and it's the National Guard is standing there and they're telling you to get out,
hmm
and all of that was super trippy and weird. And we didn't get to finish our semester or anything then, but that was nothing compared to the eeriness of like biking through downtown at night and there's just no one.
Yeah.
Nothing's open. There's no one walking around. It's really wild. Yeah.
It's crazy. Like I've only been in Kalamazoo for the past like 3 years, but even to go and see, I'm from like the east side towards like Detroit area. To go and see
Yeah.
that it is scary a little bit. It's like a movie, really. Is there's
Yeah.
like is nothing happening. Like
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
And did you see in Detroit yesterday, the gas prices were like 98 cents a gallon in
I
Detroit yesterday?
I didn't, but I know gas prices are going down. It is crazy. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's like I've never seen gas below $1. Like jeez,
Probably not in your lifetime, right?
no,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was when I first started driving, which was in 1992 or something. We could get our license when we were really young where I'm from.
hmm
And when I first started driving, gas prices were, it was like 98 cents a gallon, 95 cents a gallon. And we would complain when it would go up to over $1. We would be like, what is this? This is insane. And then, then years and years and years and years of the alternative. And I'm not complaining. I think gas prices should be set higher. Like other countries, they have a set where
hmm
it's a lot higher, and I think people put more of a premium on actually driving. It's super weird to see it happen all at this strange time. So
I
yeah,
know. Like I know in like other countries like Germany and places like that, they don't really drive because they have like trains. If you really need to go somewhere, you can take a train. Once you get off the
yeah,
train, you can take your bike or whatever. But
yeah,
like in the US, you have to drive. Like we just don't have any other way. Like that's
yeah,
the way to go.
yeah. It's too
Yeah.
big. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Oh man. Um. Sorry. I think we got a little off track, but
No.
how'd you get started with music? Just like going all the way back in the beginning.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm super lucky that my parents are not musicians at all. They're not. They can't. Or not, I shouldn't say they can't, but they don't play music.
hmm
But they're huge appreciators of music. My dad had a pretty awesome record collection when I was a kid, and so I grew up listening to records and music. I mean, it's always been around ever since I could ever imagine. And then a piano came into our home when I was about 7. It's a kind of messed up story how it got there, but I had a brother who passed away, and part of the insurance policy of my brother's death was that they had to use this money really quickly to get it, to kind of like, get it so they couldn't be taxed on it. Some insane rule, some sort of FHA rule
hmm
back in the 1980s. And so my mom and dad bought a piano, and they bought, they like remodeled something. I mean, they had to get rid of this money. And it was the last thing on their mind when my brother died was to like spend money.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden there's this piano. And of course I just bucked it. I hated this piano. Like I didn't want to have anything to do with it, but I took piano lessons for a little bit. And then I took voice lessons when I was little. But then the big thing was we had compulsory music education where I grew up. And I'm just so proud to have come from. I'm from North Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was just rad that we had compulsory music education. In my memory, it was K through 12, but maybe I just took all the music classes I could. And I played French horn for a little bit and then transitioned to the drums. And so I played music all through my high school, and everything was in the pep band, playing in the pep band and the
Mm-hmm.
marching band, orchestra pit. And then, but I didn't learn how to read music. That was one thing I kind of secretly skirted by without learning how to read music. And I had this really embarrassing thing. I made the all-state drum team or drum corps or whatever. And immediately the conductor figured out I didn't know how to read music, and he really nailed me in front of
Mm-hmm.
everybody. It was pretty embarrassing. But then in college, my first week of college, I went to my first punk rock show, and I just got my mind blown. And then it was just off and running. I started playing in bands pretty quickly thereafter. Maybe within a year, I was playing in bands.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've just been in bands ever since I was, 19, playing and touring a lot back in my 20s and making records and all that stuff. So yeah, I've just always been interested and involved in music. My family, other relatives of my family have a lot of musical ability or musicians. A first cousin of my mother, I don't know what that is to me, but he's a country artist who was pretty well known. And I've just always had music around and I think my mom has told me it's kind of something that's been in our blood.
Mm-hmm.
But when you kind of come from, I mean, I don't know how to say it. If you come from stock that's, more peasant stock, you don't have the leisure time to make records and play. So it was, leisure time's important, and I'm lucky to have some leisure time to be able to do that now. So.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
How was it actually growing up in North Dakota? Because I don't think I've ever met anyone out there. If I understand, it's just land, just flat land. Yeah.
So where I grew up is in the middle of North Dakota,
Mm-hmm.
at the south part of the middle. And where I grew up, it was rolling hills and beautiful prairie. But it was like, the sunsets are unbelievable because you can see as far as you can imagine, even with the rolling hills. Incredibly cold in the winter. Winter lasts like 6 months. But very hot in the summer too. It was an extreme environment. Like, lots of times I remember days in a row of over 100 degrees, much drier, than here. But it was where I can only speak about my own experience, but where I specifically grew up was very, very, very isolated. 115 or 120 miles from like a McDonald's, or anything, or I mean, I don't know what the closest stop light was. It was over. I mean, it was about like 100 miles away.
How old were you? How old were you when you first had McDonald's?
Oh God, we would get it once a year. Literally, this is no joke. If I swear, I'm sorry, I don't want to swear. I apologize.
You can swear all you want. It's totally fine.
Okay. We would get McDonald's once a year, and I have these very strong memories of being like 9 or 10, and we would get it when we would go school shopping at the big town, 2 hours away. And that, those chicken McNuggets tasted like the greatest thing you've ever had in your life, or that little crappy sandwich, And then my mother missed Taco Bell, so we would also get Taco Bell too. My mom's from the West Coast. My father's from North Dakota. And that was wild, just, And then when I got to college, all of this stuff, you could just go at any time. You could go to Perkins at midnight and get coffee and pie. And I mean, that literally blew my mind. I was an adult by the time I went to college, and that still blew my mind. But one thing I'm remiss to give myself credit for anything, but I generally approach travel in the world pretty much with open arms. I'm a cynical person, by nature, maybe just, my culture is a culture of cynics. But I really do think coming from such an isolated place has made me want to see everything and experience everything and be a little bit more open about a few things, personally speaking. So
I totally understand it. Like, I grew up on the east side of Michigan, towards not in Detroit, but at a city outside Detroit. So that's essentially was I won't say it's my whole world because I visited like family North Carolina rather,
Yeah.
not necessarily Georgia but like Ohio and stuff like that, Tennessee a few times, but just to be able to just go outside your own bubble, that is a crazy experience. Like especially like the first few times, even
Oh
if
yeah.
not even necessarily going to a different country or something like that. Even like the U.S. is so huge, just going like almost to another part of the state, it can be just yeah, it can be absolutely crazy.
Absolutely. For from so you grew up on the east side, near in the Metro Detroit area,
Yep.
right? There there's almost zero connection
Mm-hmm.
between what is happening there and Western Michigan.
Exactly.
Or think about the difference between Traverse City and the Metro Detroit area, or Traverse City in another area around here or something, right? Or they're completely different. And I
Mm-hmm.
personally, I love that about Michigan. I love that about America. I love that about the fact that you can get in a car and get on Interstate 94, and with maybe what, like two actual turns, you can find yourself in California.
Yep.
Like,
It's
that's
straight.
amazing.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. So,
Oh gosh, I forget how long it was. I remember I was hearing somebody talk about driving from New York to California. It's like it's a few days. Like if you drove straight, it would be like literally a few days, like without even stopping. Like
I think you can do it in 4 days if you really haul ass. Yeah.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Uh, um. So I guess going off of that, like how so like how would you like I guess describe your music growing up, like how you did?
The music I make now,
Yep.
or
Yep. The music
yeah.
make now. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. So, um, wow, that's a great question. A question I'm totally gonna blow.
That's totally fine. It's a hard question to really nail because it's like depend first off like just saying what your music you make, especially when you're so fluid and stuff, it's hard. You know.
Yeah, yeah. And I've played with so many bands, and I mean, right. So currently, I play in two, full-time bands, right? Two bands that have band practice every week and
Mm-hmm.
make records, and we share members even. My partner Chafe, I kind of see him as like my musical partner on one level with one band. Um, he's in the other band with me as well. So we're in a band called Out, and we're in a band called Wowza. Wowza is what we're talking about here. I come from punk. The people that I play with, I would say maybe they would also agree that they come from punk background.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that we gravitated together because we have ideas in common. We have aesthetic ideas in common. There's things we don't like about each other's, record collections or whatever, but there's so much that we do love, and we all respect each other. I think if I could, pinpoint it, although we come from punk, I think all of us that we play with recognize how restrictive punk rock was. It's incredibly
Mm-hmm.
elitist and restrictive, and a lot of finger pointing, uh, and also there's a lot of like bro stuff involved in punk that I think is super gross.
Mm.
Like I mean, if you've ever been to shows where people are throwing elbows, I don't know if they do that much at shows anymore. Like the
I've
sort of
never
old.
been to a punk show. I have no idea.
Oh yeah, what do you listen to?
I'm well, okay. So my music taste sort of varies. Like I am more towards like experimental slash like cultural music. Like I play here. I'm learning how to play a sitar
Are you?
currently because
Oh, that's great.
I want to go to India and learn how to actually play it properly. So that's been like one of my big goals, just in life in general for a while. But
Oh, that's so great.
uh, so yeah, my taste in music is sort of just ranges. So I don't really have like a specific thing that I constantly listen to.
Yes, yeah, agree. I completely agree with you. I feel the same, and I think that would feel like death to put yourself in a lane that you have to stay in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I can't get around the fact that we come from this punk background. Where there was a time where that maybe meant more than it does now, or maybe it was more of a badge or something. I don't know how to explain it. As far as like explaining the music that I have now, like if here's an example for the band Wowza. We now know you have a sitar.
Hmm.
So we're probably going to be asking you to come in and play some sitar on a song. We try to use found sounds, or goofy, not goofy, but non-rock instruments.
Not like traditional stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. And yet, I think what we do is actually pretty sounding, like aesthetically pretty sounding. We just made an EP and released it very, very recently, right when the virus was hitting hard,
Hmm.
And I think it's a beautiful little collection of songs. It's 4 songs that they're all real pretty sounding. I think that we're set to go record in Iowa in May. I personally don't think we're going to make that recording session
Hmm.
because I
Everything's
don't think,
just, yeah.
yeah, it's not going to be done by then, So my sense is the next album is going to be a little more chaotic. 2 of us play drums in the band. I play guitar, but I also, my first instrument's drums,
Hmm.
and we've done some double drum stuff in the past, and I think we'll probably go back to that a little bit because it just feels appropriate now. I play guitar a lot. I love playing guitar. I love playing this instrument called a tongue drum that my mother gave me. It's I don't know how to. It's a percussion instrument. Maybe not terribly dissimilar from a steel drum type thing.
Oh,
I
okay.
love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, and there's so many other ones. I mean, my wife and I record together too, and we made some songs recently with acoustic instruments, and it was really fun and wonderful. And yeah, so in terms of what our sound is, I sometimes I just default and say we're like a psychedelic band, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if you should. I don't know if it would be good to do drugstore music. I'm not sure. So,
You never know until you try out.
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Oh man, like honestly, like I love that. I'll be honest, I haven't had a chance to listen to much of your music leading up to this. Unfortunately, there's just so much going up to this. So
Oh,
like, just to hear that you're actually a psychedelic band, I'm definitely going to. It's like that is like my like 100% type music.
oh, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think our first EP is more along those lines,
Hmm.
and we dip back in and out of it as we move along.
Real
And I
quick,
think I think the next one's going to be pretty gnarly. So,
what's the EP called? Just so people know.
oh well, we have our newest EP is called Crown Shy,
Hmm.
and Crown Shyness is if you're ever in the woods and you look up and you notice how the trees won't touch each other, it's like they give each other a little bit of space.
Hmm.
That's called crown shy. Like the top of the tree line is called the crown. So and we're interested in that. I can't speak for my other bandmates, but read a book recently called The Overstory. That's really just about trees. And our first full length record that we did together, we had a vibe going on in there of nature sounds and things like that. So we try to work within vibes. So
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Um, here. So, like, so what are some of your inspirations for your music? Like other artist wise, maybe you take inspiration from like your friends or family or like life events or stuff like that. I know since you write with a band, I don't know if you write or just someone else that does.
Yeah, so most of the songs start with I think with my demos, and then I send them to this is for Wowza. I send them to my partner in that band, Frankie Hand,
Hmm.
and she puts vocals on them or adds a melody line, and then we open it up to the band, and everybody just kind of does their thing. Sometimes we get close to the demo, sometimes not. In terms of inspiration, I love that question because I think about it a lot. I really inspired usually by what I'm reading. If I'm reading a book that's inspiring to me or poetry or something. My day job is a literature teacher and an English teacher at a community college in town here.
Hmm.
And, so I'm surrounded by literature and words and I get inspired by those things. We made a record last year that was inspired, at least one of the recording sessions was inspired by the death of an old friend, death of an old partner of mine that was rough, and we made a record and then dedicated it to her. And I found her presence was in the album a little bit. As far as the other aspect of inspiration for music, I listen to music constantly, probably like yourself and anybody who's interested. I really am incredibly inspired by this dude named Sonny Chirac. He's a guitar player, or was, you know.
Hmm.
And he made some records that are incredibly out there and wild. And then he made some records I think that are just shockingly beautiful. He played on his last album with Elvin Jones and Bill Laswell, McCoy Tyner. It's part of the John Coltrane's, famous band was on his last record. And he plays guitar, and he plays this kind of just insane, gnarly guitar. I love it so much. So Sandy Chirac records really move me. Can albums, this band Can, I know probably inspired a whole lot of other people too, but they certainly inspire me. This in the past few years, this guitar player named Mdu Mokhtar, he's been really inspiring to me too, just because he seems very free. He works within a mode, and it's like practically rewriting the same song over and over and over again, but it's such a perfect thing, And Richard and Linda Thompson records, those are super inspiring to me as well. So yeah, those things are all put into the mix and come out sounding however they come out. So
that's good. Yeah, you take like a very wide just breadth of things, just sort of like compress them down. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, for a while with our band, it was really kind of a partnership between myself and my friend Zach Hench. He's in LA, and he and his partner Sarah and I have a different project now that we're working on. He kind of has stepped away from Wowza for a whole bunch of like logistic reasons, really nothing bad or anything. But he, I think, was really, really, really good at sort of taming my impulses, because I think in the studio I can be incredibly impulsive, and my first impulse is to move really quickly and record quickly. I like to record very quickly, and I don't like to do a lot of takes. I like when things sound kind of fucked up. I like that, like, oh, this is great. I like that this is wrong, and Zach was like, no, let's be a little more careful and let's talk about this. And then he would be mixing everything. So he would take hours and hours and hours to mix these beautiful things and add these little sprinkles of keyboards. He's a musician. He's a real musician. He plays piano beautifully. He has a master's degree in piano performance, Hearing the songs that I would, think of when I'm sitting in front of the TV watching CNN come through him was really shocking and rad, and I love it. We're going to continue our partnership too. We have another project that we're working on that we'll record later, but that was really beautiful to hear that kind of pass through that. Now we don't have that filter anymore, right? Of somebody maybe kind of pulling the reins back, and I want to see where it goes now. Like if we're going to go stratospheric or if we're going to self-regulate a little more. So
yeah, a lot of people actually have. It's usually like when you're doing those type of group dynamics, usually always someone that's kind of not necessarily holding everyone back, but keeping them grounded,
Totally.
Yeah. I forget. Oh, I can't remember what band it was. It was like an old band. They used to have that. Was it? It's gonna come to me. It wasn't Led Zeppelin. It was some band like that. But yeah, it would have to have like, it would be a completely off the walls person, and then person that just holds everything down. I remember it sometime later when we're talking randomly. But
please, when you do, blurt it out. I'd love to know.
So what were you guys doing? Like, what you guys been doing recently, or like leading up to the quarantine and everything, and sort of like now?
Oh yeah, it was gnarly. We had so many things going. Like, I mean, everybody is reflecting now, right? Because we have a little bit of time where we're forced to reflect, and that's cool. That's cool to be reflecting. But for the band, I mean, we had several shows we were really looking forward to that got canceled. That we were stoked to play. We had the EP coming out. We were stoked for that, which it came out. We put it out. It's out there. And then the big thing though was this recording session in Iowa that is up in the air, but I'm pretty sure we can say it's not going to happen. That was really something we were all looking forward to. And then really, to be honest with you, like playing shows is cool, but I could never play another show again for as long as I live if the trade-off was just like you have band practice every week. I just really miss band practice. I play music by myself. I record by myself. I love doing things by myself too. And I love playing with my wife. Playing music with her is fantastic. But band practice is like, it feels like therapy for me, and it's weird to not have that presence in my life right now. So we had a lot of plans. But they'll still be there when everything chills out a little bit and when the curve gets flattened, and
Hmm.
we'll still be playing. So
Yeah, when things start to mellow out, hopefully, like I know they've been saying at least 3 months, maybe until the fall again. So
yeah, and then there's a projection I read this morning where it's going to chill out
hmm
and then possibly
yep,
jack back up again. Have you had to cancel any plans on your end for anything, or?
I've had. So I'm working on like my final project for school. It's like a little short film. Um, I pretty much had to stop like all production for it because either they sent like most of the students home that was on campus. So a lot of people that are either working behind the scenes or on camera or just straight up not in Kalamazoo anymore. So that's
Yeah.
one step. Two, we can't go outside anymore physically for like anything that isn't like necessary. So that's number two. So that pretty much just like nail in the coffin on that for that. So
Oh, what a bummer. Oh, I'm so sorry.
yeah, no. Well, I mean, like it's not. I know this is. That's like real. I talked to my professor. He's cool with it. He understands. Like, there's so many other people going through the same thing. So I'm not too worried about it. Plus, I was staying for another semester, so it's not like I'm getting held back. But I know there's gonna be a lot more people that are just absolutely devastated. Like, I couldn't imagine if like you had to like pay your rent or something like that. Luckily, I'm like fine, like financially, like rooms paid for, cars paid for, everything like that is good. But for
Yeah,
people that are like living paycheck to paycheck, that's the people I really feel bad for.
I
Yeah.
totally agree. Yeah. Our people we know in our lives, and I'm sure in your life and in my life, who
Hmm.
work, I think for lack of a better word, call it the service industry. I don't,
Yep.
it's a weird term to me, but people who work in food. And honestly, I know this is kind of maybe not this is something I think people don't think about as much. And you don't have to be a person who patronizes this to have empathy for them. But I think sex workers,
Mm.
imagine what they're experiencing right now, particularly sex workers whose part of their job is necessitates being close to people,
Yeah.
like a doctor, you got to be close to people. If you're doing nails, you have to be close to people.
Yep.
A bartender, right? Bartender hands you a drink, you got to be close to people. Think about if your job was like, no, I have to be close to people and then manipulate their body or whatever.
Hmm.
That to me is, I think that's really devastating because a lot of sex work, there's no W-2.
Hmm.
You can't apply for unemployment, that too.
Hmm.
And it's another one of those that's just this so many people we know are going to be devastated by this, so
I know. Like I know when I was finishing school, I was planning on doing freelance work. That is
oh,
gone. Yeah. I'm like a videographer. That's like my main thing. And I'm like
oh,
I I'm part of like a larger forum like Reddit and other like video forums, and the amount of people that are just like the work, if you're not like in like a corporate type thing, it's just not there anymore. Because if it think about it, it's just like it's not like a luxury type thing, but it's almost like marketing. It's not necessarily a necessity to keep your business going. So yeah.
yes, yeah, there's just no work there,
Hmm.
so you'll go to college next fall,
Yep.
and then will you graduate in December then?
Yep. I'll be graduating in December. I have like three. I have two classes in my major and then one in my minor that I had to finish up. Then some like other classes to fill out credits.
So your major is videography or filmmaking?
Yep, pretty much. I'm a math major, so like multimedia arts technology. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
great. And what's your minor in then?
general business. Yeah,
Oh great, that's a great combination, so yeah.
it is honestly. I really messed up this year. I would wanted to take like a music business class, but things just didn't work out. I love like the business side, like music. It is amazing. It is just crazy how much goes
Oh yeah,
into it. Yeah, even if you're
changing
like,
every day. Yeah.
oh
Yep.
yeah, honestly, that's just like one of the things I love about it because it's so fluid. And I guess for me personally, I like performing, but I like one of those
Yeah.
people that like being behind the scenes on things like that. So that just works out perfectly for me.
Oh yes,
Hmm.
totally. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So what have you guys been doing while the quarantine's been going on right now?
Good question. We've been sending songs back and forth. I record songs on my phone, like that's the main way I record songs. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the way I used to use a 4-track. I use my phone like that. And it sounds about as shitty as my 4-track stuff. But we've been sending things back and forth a lot. My assumption, it's either going to be demos for something that's coming, or will be things that will work themselves into a record somehow. We like records that have flow and have a kind of tell story in a certain way. And we're also not terribly precious about the recording of the records. Like if we have found sounds on there, that's fine. Or if we have kind of cruddy sounding things on there as interstitials, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
We've got big old ideas on that stuff. So we've been recording a lot. I have not been playing guitar as much as normal. In fact, I've been playing with my phone these 2 apps. I don't know if you got the Moog app or Moog.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I've been writing with that. And then I got the Korg app as well,
mm-hmm.
and it helps generate beats and different things. And I've written with both of those, and I love them. I'm kind of obsessed with them. I was actually just screwing around with it before this conversation because I'm kind of obsessed with it, So,
mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're staying very busy. I think we're staying really busy, and we're in communication with each other. We're all friends anyway. Like,
yeah, it was going to happen.
Yeah, we'd talk anyway, So, yeah, I'm going to be interested to see, say 6 months from now, say everything's cool, and 6 months from now things are back to normal. There will be no normal after this.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll forge a new way of understanding normal. But then say we're in 6 months and we can go into a studio. I am really stoked to see what type of record comes out of all of this. So yeah,
there's gonna be a lot of like interesting things that happen out of this. Like I know like a lot of people probably working from home is gonna become a lot more popular because if people realize you can just do it and nothing really changes, like yeah.
I think you're gonna see people, particularly. I think people. I can't say this for myself. I like my job in the building that I work in, but I work from home now too. And I think some people are going to find like, whoa, wait a second. That dude was way more productive during the quarantine than he is in the office. Send that dude home to work,
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Like I think it might just be you're just more relaxed or you just have more time because you're not having to get prepared and then make breakfast and get ready in the morning or everything like that. I don't know. It could be a combination of things, but whatever it is, it just, and I know you just generally, I know I've been taking classes from home now. I know I physically feel better than having to go out like every day at least to go to class.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's excellent. So you've been on top of your health and everything. You've stayed healthy and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. That's great. That's great.
Yeah. I can't say that for a lot of my friends because I feel like some people I feel like will take this. They won't realize that you still, just because you're in quarantine, you still have to take care of yourself, work out or try to work out if you can, make sure you do everything. Try to like, if you can't cut your hair, but maybe just like groom and everything, do what you have to do. At least try to. Like the basic stuff,
Take a shower every other day at the least.
Yeah. Oh man, but it's gonna be interesting how things come out. Like, I'm not sure what's gonna happen. It's essentially we're still like I feel like in the upswing for most things. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So what do you guys have like planned? Oh, actually, let me take a step back for that. So like, how do you guys do touring or gigging?
We play shows. When this band started, it was the idea was that it was definitely going to be like the most low stress thing possible, and of course that metastasized into something else, like a collection of cells. But I don't know. We play a lot of shows. I think we play a lot of shows. I'm happy with the amount of shows we play. We haven't played out of town yet because our first out of town show was going to be in Chicago, and it was just a week ago. It was supposed to be a week or so ago, and that got canceled, obviously. I think this band will eventually play more out of town shows. I don't know about touring with this band. I'm not really sure. All of us are in our 40s. 3 of us have kids. Chafe, the bass player, his kid is grown, is a grown adult. Mark has a little one. I have a 7-year-old and a 15-year-old. So we all have kids and stuff, and it
makes things more tricky. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't go on the road for 2 weeks like we used to be able to, or whatever. I would really love to be able to do like a four-day in a row type thing. I think that would be great for this band, is to go out for 4 days and see what that's like. Like maybe drive to New York and back and play 4 shows, 2 shows out and 2 shows back. I think that would be awesome. But we have no plans. We haven't talked about that. Everybody else is also in other bands too. So it's, kind of intense with everyone's schedule and stuff. Chafe and I, our other band Out, just put a record out, and we have to talk about like, okay, what are we going to do now too? And in terms of touring, and we feel like we owe it to our record label to try and play shows. And we actually have some shows canceled on us that were going to be pretty fun, awesome shows. One in Milwaukee, one in Chicago. And those I think were going to be really great. Again, everyone had canceled shows, and this is not our livelihood, so I'm not trying to garner any sympathy in that regard, but it's things that you look forward to. And mostly I look forward to being with my buddies and seeing friends and stuff. So to answer your question, yeah, eventually I think we'll play a lot more on the road, but I just don't know when, and it's like everybody. So.
Okay, cool. I guess going off that, like the shows you've done, sorry, the shows you have done, like what's been like some of your best shows, like your favorite shows, and maybe ones that you were like, man, I'm not really so sure about this. Maybe let's not do this one again.
That's a great question. Should I take my entire musical career or just with Wowza?
If you want, you can do both. If you like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, back before I knew what a bad show was or what a good show was, I was in bands that toured a lot. We constantly were on tour. Played almost in every state other than Alaska and Hawaii with one band in particular. And then with another band, this is back in North Dakota, we just toured all the time. And we would clear rooms every night because we were loud and obnoxious. And,
you guys are a closer.
Oh, yeah. That was the like go home band. Yeah. And I think that set my watch, to be honest with you, is like, to be very honest, like what immediately it was like, okay, well, we're here for each other. We're here for the art. These people here, I'm glad they're here, but I don't care what they think, really. That's the thing that set my watch. So then when I found myself in a band that people would come out and watch or seemed to not clear the room, that was a weird experience, because you're kind of like, oh, wait a second, how come you don't hate me? What's happening here? And so to judge like what a good show and a bad show is there's so many factors. For I'd say the one of the weirdest shows I ever played, well, there's 2. They both actually happened in Oklahoma. This was many years ago. One was we played an outdoor festival with some friends from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it just so happened that the show that we were playing, a whole bunch of skinheads showed up on Vespa scooters, vroom, vroom. And my bandmates we're from North Dakota, but my bandmate was Filipino. One of my best friends, Jason Lay, and they were really razzing him hard. And then one of them even said something to me, intimating that I was from Israel or Jewish, and I'm from North Dakota. But, and that was a really nutty show, because we actually felt like, wow, these guys they're gonna beat our ass. Like this is going down. And when we got done playing, we loaded up as quickly as we could and we bolted out of town. And it was really heavy. It was like a heavy time. And then another show in Oklahoma was at a festival with a bunch of awesome bands. The Fleshies played, all these great bands. The drummer from the Fleshies, in the middle of their set, he's like, stop, I gotta piss. And the singer guy said, well, piss. And he stood up and he just pissed his pants. And then he sat down, and then a police helicopter came and broke up that show. So we were watching bands in and out of the house, and it's like a festival, but it was in a house and then next to a house. And this police helicopter came, disperse. And I was just like, this is crazy, like this is nuts. One of the best shows with the Wowzas that I again, I can't speak for my bandmates, but we played the Already Dead festival last year.
Hmm.
That consortium Already Dead. We really feel close to them. We're not on that label, but we love all those people a lot. And we've got to play in a church downtown, and that was awesome. It was really awesome. I felt good. I felt like people maybe were vibing it on it, you know, like it was really good. So, so yeah, so that's that. And then Out has had a bunch of great shows, and our old band Minutes has had a bunch of great shows. Like, yeah, we're really, really lucky to have good shows, you know.
Cool.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, how is like, how is Wowza and Out connected? Is Out a completely different band?
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah. So Out is so in 2008, Chafe and then our friend Mark Larmy and then our friend Ryan Nelson, we started a band called Minutes. And then we did that band for a few years, and then Ryan moved away. And then there's a couple of years with different bands, and we started a band called Out, sort of, I think it was in 2015, and that was with Mark Larmy, Chafe, myself, and then Toby, our bass player, our friend and bass player, Toby. I missed her a lot, by the way, during this crazy thing. I miss seeing her and talking to her. But anyway, and Out started in that, and then we started making records and touring and playing, and we got a record label, you know, puts our records out for us, and we're so lucky. We love everybody that's involved in our whole scene, you know. And then I had all these songs lying around, lots of songs. For whatever reason, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, I hit this streak of writing a lot of songs, and I just haven't stopped. And I write a lot of songs. I don't know I don't know what it is. I don't want to question it. But we more than we could use an Out, and then and ones that maybe wouldn't fit in that band anyway. So I started Wowza, and then, you know, started with my friend Zach, and then again just pulled people in over the years. So Chafe was with me in the first Wowza tape too. He played bass on that, so it was really, that was just him and myself in the studio alone, the first one. And then we sent it to Zach, and he added and mixed and did all this awesome stuff. The second Wowza record has a collection of just myself, Zach and myself with Sarah, and then the band that we have, and then the EP is just the band, the four of us, and Zach mixed and plays on it. Going forward, it'll just be the four of us. Mark Walters on drums, Frankie Hand on vocals and guitars and all sorts of stuff, Chafe on bass, and myself on guitars and drums and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, and Chafe plays other instruments too. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, sorry if that's confusing. It's incredibly hard. It was very hard for us to explain it for a while, so we actually just stopped trying to explain it.
Sometimes it's just easier, honestly. It's like, yeah, it's a thing. You'll hear it. You know, it'll be good.
Yeah. That's I like that. So yeah.
Yeah, when I first heard it, I was like, is this like a play on Wild and Out, or like?
Oh yeah, no, it was my daughter named the band.
Oh yeah.
I told her to come up with a logo, and she drew this skull, and like a skull and a flower, and I was like, oh yeah, like the Grateful Dead.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
she just wrote Wowza on it, and I thought, well, okay, there's our band. So that's our band.
That's good, honestly. So like, what's your like writing process? Because I know when I personally write, like I usually like catch a tune, thinking of something, then just go and just try to play it out. Maybe come up with something else while I'm in the way or something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly, I would say, very similar to that. A lot of times it's just me. Yeah, I'm just sitting on my couch, and I'll play and play and play and play and play. I watch a lot of documentaries, like probably most people these days. And I'll have something on, and I'll just be playing, and then a song will just be there, right? And I kind of get up and I go and I record the drums. I think I hear the drums immediately with the song, so I'll record the drums, and then I'll put the guitar over it, and the bass and the keyboards or whatever. And I feel very lucky that it all usually happens really quickly. Like there will be a song. I mean, literally. I mean, this happened the other day. A song came to me, and I think it was less than 10 minutes, and I had all of the parts laid down, and I felt like, oh, okay, great. And I hit send, and I sent it to my bandmate, and there we were. And it all just happens really quickly for me. Now, I love the artists that take their time, and they, so I'm really obsessive about these two records, or people who made records.
Mm-hmm.
One is a guy named Frank Ocean. I think his records are just unbelievable. They blow my mind and they make me feel something. And he takes a really long time on his records, right?
Mm.
Like he is very meticulous. His last one I think was 4 years ago, and then there was and then it was like 4 years or 5 years before that with his record called Channel Orange. And then this guy named Mark Hollis, he was in a band called Talk Talk. And I love Talk Talk records a lot. I obsessively listen to them. And he made a record about once every 7 years. And so I really would love to be in that mode of really being judicious and editing down and really honing in on the perfect thing. But I just don't work that way right now. I work much more quickly, and things seem to, I don't know what it is. I feel like everything else is just moving too slowly.
Mm-hmm. Like you want things now, get things going. Yeah.
Yeah. I love to create. I probably should have gone into improv.
Honestly, that would have been perfect.
Probably, because those things just happen right now, and
Mm-hmm.
so I'm trying to balance those urges, so yeah, that's what. And I wish I could be more like, say, PJ Harvey. She takes her time and is really careful lyrically. For me, when I write lyrics for Out. I don't write lyrics for Wowza, just the song part. For lyrics, it a lot of times it's just based around one word even, or a tone or an idea or a thing. I wrote a song for the last Out album that came from an experience I did not have directly, but that I felt strongly about, which was a friend of mine had a crazy night at a protest for an oil pipeline in North Dakota. And I just was thinking of her and her standing there, seeing this kind of crazy shit go down. And I just imagined her just jumping into the river and swimming, and maybe not swimming away, but swimming and swimming and swimming. And then where does it end from there? So I just had this like little nugget of an idea. And then I wrote a song around that. And I don't know if lyrically the song makes any sense at all, but all of the feelings and thoughts and love that I have for this person are there from my perspective,
Mm-hmm.
So once you put something out, it's up to them to decide what it is, right? So
yeah. That's just generally with art in general. Yeah. Once you put it out, it's up to people to interpret.
Absolutely. Yeah. So.
Cool. I think we're coming to the end of things. So what's your guys like plans for the future? Like after everything sort of like calms down. Well, I guess gears back up, not necessarily calms down, but everything sort of goes back to normal.
Yeah. We're gonna record another record. I don't know where we'll do it. Again, probably not at Flat Black Studios in Iowa, because that's a lot to expect right now.
Mm-hmm.
If we record in town, we've recorded at Broadside, and then we've also recorded at La Luna. My guess is we'll probably make the record at La Luna.
Yep.
We had a good experience working with Ian, and then his assistant Tony was there too. And I feel really comfortable around Ian. I feel comfortable around Ian, but I feel really comfortable around Tony also. I used to love Tony's bands a lot.
Everyone says absolutely great things about Ian and Tony, honestly. Yeah.
They're so great. They're just so chill. And they were like, there was like a 30-second in the beginning where I was like, oh, are we like, is this the right wavelength? And then what was it? We saw a record that he had been listening to, and it was a Betty Serveert record. And it just like put me at ease. And I was like, the guy listens to a Betty Serveert record. Like, we're going to make this work. This is going to be awesome. And it was awesome. It was one of the most fun experiences I've ever had in a studio. So my assumption is we'll make it there again. And I hope Tony's assisting too, because Tony chills me out a little bit. We don't hang out. I don't hang out with Tony Mitchell on the side, but he makes me feel at ease, and I just like him. I think he's a good person. So we've got like that's what we'll probably do. And then we're probably going to just play more shows. I feel like we're going to get a little more free. That's the word I want to choose. I think we're going to get a little more free and a little more out there. I feel pulled that way. I don't know if I'll play much guitar on stuff coming up. Maybe I have a keyboard set up now that I really like too. And yeah, I feel like we're going to be a little more out there.
No, honestly, that's just what you need. I think after something like this, having something that's a little more, we live in times where everything is out there, so I
Oh
think
yeah.
it'll fit just in perfectly.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
totally agree. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's it. Unless you had anything else you want to put out there, we're gonna add something where you
Um.
can plug all your stuff and everything after that.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, just the Bandcamp page or whatever. It's nice talking with you.
Yeah, you too. Honestly, this has been awesome.
This has been great. I'm sorry. I don't know if we've met before. Have we met before?
I do not think so. I don't think I was there when you guys did your music at the library, which is very possible. I'm not there for all of them.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that was really fun.
Yeah.
That was a fun night. We listened back to the recording of it, and we were like, "Wow, we were not completely out of our minds. We actually had a good experience. You can hear it." Like,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, I'm glad you guys do that. It's such a cool experience for bands to get in there and jam, and maybe somebody hears it or not, but you get this recording at the end too, where you're like,
Hmm.
"Oh my gosh, look at that. We did that thing," you know? So,
That's like one of the moments where it's like one of those key moments where you realize, oh my gosh, this is real. Like this is actually how we sound. This is a physical thing of it. Well,
yeah,
it's not physical, it's digital, but yeah.
yeah, totally. I think I get this charge too out of I'm old, I'm way old, but I get this charge of the idea of something being disseminated on terrestrial radio.
Hmm.
To me, feels like it still feels serious to me. Like I remember the first time I ever heard a song I played on that was on the radio, and it was played by somebody I didn't know. It was like, oh my gosh, that was a really weird experience, like hearing it. And
Hmm.
of course, it was like a college radio station in Minnesota or something, but it was still just this weird, like, holy cow, it felt real,
Yeah.
So
It
yeah.
is crazy. That's why I love doing this. Just I love just helping people just realize what they want to do. Because it's being along that journey, especially like you may not see them like you may not see like at the end of it, but just being a part of that, it's awesome. Like
Totally. Yeah.
and obviously not everyone's gonna keep going. Some bands break up like literally like days after you guys do your performance, which I have seen, which is crazy. I mean, like they break up, not like awfully break up, just like things just don't work out. But
Yeah.
it's cool just to be able just to be a part of that process, honestly.
Oh yeah, totally, totally.
Hmm.
Who how will this so is this like in a podcast form, or will it go on the internet, or
So what I have planned to do right now is to do a mix of the two. So it's going to be a combination of the music of the library and like a shortened version of this. And then
oh
I'm
cool.
thinking about putting the longer. They'll still be edited down and keep on like things where I'm like looking at my notes or something like that to take that out. But it'll be pretty much like the long form version of it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And honestly, you made this so much easier because it definitely relies on whoever I'm talking to sort of like help this go a lot better.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. Thank you so much. That's
Yeah.
great. That's great. I had a blast talking with you. It was really sweet.
Yep.
So.
I wouldn't be able to tell this is your second interview. You blew out the park.
Oh, a second Zoom interview. Yeah.
Oh, Zoom in. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Or
Gotcha.
Zoom thing. I did another Zoom thing last week, and then I have to do another one next week. And at first, I was like, "What am I doing?" And I look so goofy on camera, and I mean everything. And then I was like, "Okay, whatever. It's just everybody's doing it now. We have to just do this." So
Hmm.
yeah,
Like honestly, I didn't know of Zoom until like before all this started. It works. It just works, which is good. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely better than Skype.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Well, it's great talking with you.
Awesome. You too. Also, I guess like you already did the plugs or anything, but anything like you have your band page. Like, what's the new EP coming out? What's the one? Well, what's the one that's been out? What's the new EP that's coming out? If you already have a name or
Oh
everything
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So yeah, the newest one that we have out, or that we have out, is called Crown Shy. Wowza is, I think if you just look for Wowza in Kalamazoo and Bandcamp, that's all where all of our music is.
Hmm.
Wowza in Kalamazoo on Facebook as well. That's the only way we really disseminate information out to people. We don't have an Instagram page or anything. Maybe someday we'll do that. I'm not sure. Um, that's what it is right now. I think when we start playing more shows out of state, then we'll do more of those things. But for the most part, we just put records out and that
Hmm.
type of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Cool.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
everyone, this has been Ike from Wowza. This has been Darrell. This has been Music Library Rehash. I hope you guys have a good rest of the day. We'll catch you guys later.
Yeah. Thank you.